Spoilers! Alright, Star Wars The Last Jedi has been out for a week now, so let's finally talk about some spoilers here. First off, this movie's got some mixed reactions. I still really like it. There are some nitpicks I have, sure, but all in all, I think it's a really damn good Star Wars movie. But listening to Star Wars fans being all butthurt about, like, every tiny little thing they didn't like, it pisses me off. Just sit back and enjoy the movie, dude. I get that there are people out there who genuinely did not like this movie. That's fine. But I just feel like Star Wars fans who are nitpicking every single tiny little thing and are just acting all butthurt about it, I just feel like they're bitching for the sake of bitching. Then again, there are those out there who are saying that this is the best Star Wars movie ever made. So there is that. And when it comes to this movie, there are a lot of spoilers here because the trailers did not show much, so like, the majority of the movie is a spoiler. This video is gonna be a long one. Yeah, alright, I'll tell him. BB-8 says happy holidays. So let's jump into Star Wars The Last Jedi. The first scene in the movie is the First Order has found the Resistance on their base in Dakar. Which I gotta wonder, how did they find the Resistance? From what I recall in The Force Awakens, which I have watched a gazillion and a half times, I don't remember a scene where the First Order finds out where the Resistance is based. But it doesn't matter because Poe thinks he can just single-handedly take out that entire fleet by himself. That Dreadnought ship was badass, dude. That thing is enormous. Poe's taking all these Resistance bombers and they're all just getting wiped out. They got no shot. But that last one is avoiding all the First Order fire. Just like right in the beginning of the movie, you can tell this one's gonna be a nail-biter. This entire movie is such a nail-biter. You're just on the edge of your seat the entire time, not sure if the good guys are gonna make it out of this. Paige Tico gets the detonator, drops the bombs, blows herself up to wipe out that Dreadnought. So yeah, they took out the Dreadnought, but Poe done goofed because it cost like half the Resistance fleet to do it. So he gets demoted by Leia. But Finn wakes up from the med bay after having his spine sliced by Kylo Ren. Goes to Poe, he says, "Where's Rey?" Then it cuts to Rey. She is on the island with Luke, and Luke is a hermit. Straight up. He's like going fishing, he's milking that giant sea slug thing with the green milk. That was kind of gross. Why was that scene even in the movie? I'm just saying it didn't need to be in there. It was kind of gross. But you find out he went to that island to die because he was so ashamed of his mistake he made with Ben Solo. More on that later. Now in my spoiler-free review, I said that there was one scene around the beginning where I was like, yeah, that's actually really strange. That is a scene where Kylo Ren is attacking the Resistance ship, decides not to kill his own mother, but then those TIE fighters come in and they blow up the bridge. First time I saw the movie, when I saw Leia just get sucked out, I was just gaping. I was like that for like a minute. It was like Lucasfilm was like, alright, Carrie Fisher finished filming all her scenes for The Last Jedi. I mean, it wasn't much, but you guys don't know that. But then you see Leia floating out in space, she's still alive using the Force, and she gravitates herself towards the bridge, and she's alive. And Leia's theme is just blasting. First time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's weird. But after thinking about it for a week, actually I was watching Chris Stuckman's spoiler video. He said something like, if you're able to use the Force to move objects with your mind, you should be able to move yourself, like levitate yourself or fly. You've seen Jedi like jump really far, so Leia gravitating herself toward the bridge made sense. And I was like, yeah, that does make sense. So the second time I saw the movie, last night, when that scene came up when Leia was gravitating herself towards the bridge, I was like, yeah, that totally makes perfect sense. I'm fine with it now. But she's in a coma now, so she's gonna be out for like half the movie. So Laura Dern comes in as Vice Admiral Holdo, and she's kind of a dick. Or at least to Poe. Poe is a hothead, straight up. Poe goes up to Holdo, he's like, look, the First Order has us by the balls. What is our plan? She's like, yeah, you're a flyboy, you're a hothead, you're the last thing we need right now. Just sit tight over there and, you know, whatever. She has a plan, but she doesn't want to come off as a hothead like Poe. She's more calm and reserved. That's her method. Doesn't change the fact that she was kind of dickish about it to Poe. But the really cool stuff comes in when back on the island, Rey and Kylo Ren start having these like Force conversations. They're being connected somehow through the Force. And they're talking, they're like, what's going on here? Where are you? You will bring Skywalker to me. It was really funny. I think it was their third conversation where he's kind of like shirtless and Rey's like, is there like a towel or something you can just put on? I thought that was pretty funny. But when Luke is on the Falcon, he sees R2-D2 there and their reunion is a really good scene. Because Luke is like, look, I know we're old friends and all that, but there's nothing you can say to change my mind. I'm not going back there. I'm just done. But then R2 plays that old classic Leia message, the distress call from the original Star Wars movie. That was such a throwback. I loved it. It was great. It's not fan service. Alright, it is. But it's good fan service, so shut up. So Luke explains to Rey what really happened with Ben Solo. This is the first Star Wars movie with a flashback. And there are like a couple different versions of the story. It kind of reminded me of like How I Met Your Mother. Where it's like, kids, I don't know if this is actually true, but this is how he swears it happened. Because the way Kylo Ren tells it, Luke strikes his lightsaber, he's going to kill him because he senses the dark side in him. So Ben Solo had to fight back, otherwise Luke was straight up gonna murder him. But you find out the way it actually happened is that Luke had the idea of actually killing Ben Solo. He took out his green lightsaber, he had it, and then Ben Solo woke up and saw it, but Luke had a change of heart. He wasn't going to actually kill him, but when he had his lightsaber out and Ben Solo woke up, I was like, dude, you have like plenty of time here. Just turn off your lightsaber. If Luke had just turned off his lightsaber, I don't think this whole thing would have happened. Maybe. I don't know. And yeah, I do feel like that is kind of strange that Luke would even consider killing his sister's son, his nephew, when he was so sure 30 years ago that Darth Vader still had some good in him when Darth Vader had been a straight up villain for 20 years. So there is that, and yeah, there's really no way around that. I agree. Why would he even consider killing off his own nephew? Even for an instant, that just doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't seem like a Luke thing to do. At least not after Return of the Jedi. But Rey gets pissed off. She's like, yeah, you actually did create Kylo Ren, so she just leaves. She's gonna go confront him herself. She is convinced that she can turn Kylo Ren back to the good side. Which I'm like, no, you can't. He's not redeemable, not after killing his own father. No way. But then, one of the best scenes in the movie is a little cameo appearance by Yoda. I love Yoda in this movie. First of all, I'm glad he's a puppet and not CG. Second of all, I'm glad they got Frank Oz to come back and voice him. And third of all, his dialogue with Luke is just amazing. Again, my impression is terrible, so I'm just not even gonna bother. But he's like, yeah, you lost Ben Solo, but we have not lost Rey yet. Think back to 30 years ago. You didn't finish your training. You did not heed my warnings. You went off and you failed. And that's how you learn. Failure is the greatest teacher, he says. Just the warm-heartedness of that scene and Yoda's theme playing in the background. I'm like, this is golden. This is greatness. It's perfection. It's everything I love about Star Wars right in front of me. So Rey goes to confront Kylo Ren and ultimately Snoke. She's convinced that she can turn Ben Solo back to the good side. And when they're in Snoke's chamber, first of all, Snoke was pretty cool. I like that scene where he stands up. He's like 9 feet tall. He like zaps Kylo Ren and I'm like, wow, this is Palpatine 2.0. And yeah, right, Snoke had his time to shine, but in the end, he really doesn't matter. Because he has Rey at mercy and he turns her to Kylo Ren. He's like, you, my apprentice, where there was once conflict, I now sense resolve. Finish her. And I love this. He's like, I can read Kylo Ren's mind. I see his hate. He's going to ignite the lightsaber and destroy his true enemy. And yeah, sure enough, that is what he did. Using the Force, he ignites the blue lightsaber, which Snoke confiscated. It goes right through Snoke, slices him in half. Snoke is dead now. When that happened, that was one of the 2 scenes in the movie that I mentioned in my spoiler-free review, where the audience was like, oh my god, that just happened! That was a big holy shit moment, on par with I Am Your Father. Or at least it felt that way. Because you're like, holy crap, he actually turned from the dark side back to the good side. And now they're fighting all these red armored guards. I don't know what they're called. And that was badass! Kylo Ren's like got one behind his back and he gets the blue lightsaber and just right behind his head. That was awesome. So right now we're thinking, okay, so maybe Kylo Ren can be redeemed? Maybe? But I find that that's not really the case. Kylo Ren's like, yeah, let's just leave everything behind. Screw Snoke. Screw Luke. Rey, let's just do our own thing and we can take over the galaxy together. And after Rey declines, he declares himself the new supreme leader of the First Order, which I'm like, alright, cool. Kylo Ren is still a bad guy and Rey's still a good guy, just Snoke is no longer in the picture. Which yeah, there are a lot of fans who are pissed about that because we spent 2 years theorizing about Snoke, who is he, and in the end it just doesn't even matter. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed at first, because I, of course, along with every other Star Wars fan, was theorizing about who Snoke might be. But in the end, I'm fine with Snoke not mattering because he was really there as a plot device for Kylo Ren. I really don't mind that, if I'm being honest. Kylo Ren killed Snoke, now he is doing his own thing. He's taking matters into his own hand, he's finding out who he is in the universe. I dig that, fuck Snoke. And when he and Rey have their dispute, they're reaching for that blue lightsaber, they're reaching, and that original lightsaber, originally held by Anakin Skywalker, we've seen it since 1977, it's now split in half, which is cool that when we saw it split in half, we saw the blue kyber crystal in there. I like that, that's really cool. Now I'm gonna touch on the whole Finn and Rose thing, which again, I don't really hate, but watching the movie a second time, I was like, yeah, it really doesn't have a place in this movie. I actually did leave the theater to go to the bathroom during a Finn and Rose scene. Again, it didn't piss me off like Anakin and Padme in episode 2 or some shit. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's just kind of a neutral thing. I'm like, I'll watch it, but if I had to pick a scene to watch in this movie, it wouldn't be my first choice. They run across Benicio del Toro as DJ. He's a codebreaker, he brings them to the First Order, he betrays them, although I will say that Phasma fight is pretty sweet, like I said. But then with Phasma, I was looking forward to seeing her actually unmasked because of that photo shoot they did with Vanity Fair. Gwendolyn Christie took some photos just in the Phasma armor, but with no mask. So I was like, alright, she's gonna be unmasked in the movie. And in the end of that awesome fight, I love it. Because Phasma like pushes him down that shaft, but he comes back up and he's casually like, hey, I love that. That's what I would do if I were him. I'd be like, what's up? And then just bashes her over the head. It breaks her helmet and you see her eye, but that's pretty much it. Rian Johnson said he liked that irony of such a cruel character being actually physically beautiful. He also said that Phasma to Star Wars is like what Kenny is to South Park, meaning she might actually still be alive after falling into the fire, and we might see her again in episode 9. And while all this is going down, all the drama with Rey and Kylo Ren, with Finn and Phasma, with Rose, all this shit is going down, and it leads to the second moment in which the audience was like, holy shit, what the fuck? And that is when Vice Admiral Holdo makes her light speed sacrifice. This is awesome. She's like, yeah, all the resistance, you escape, you go to the salt planet Crate. I'm gonna stay here, make a noble sacrifice, and take care of some business. So that's what she does. She goes to light speed, the sound cuts out, and you see it's just, and the way it was lit, like, when the first time I saw it, let's play the audience reaction. Yeah, we were just like, what the fuck? That's gonna be a classic moment that goes down in Star Wars history. Like 30 years from now, we're gonna look back in this and be like, yeah, that happened in our Star Wars movies. So now, the Resistance and the First Order are down on Crate. And this is kind of like the Battle of Hoth. Because the Rebels, they got their base, and the First Order strolling up with their big walkers. They're called AT-M6 now. Although I did see a couple of old-fashioned AT-ATs in there. I saw them. And they got this big battering ram cannon, and Finn's gonna go stop it. I love this because you see Finn going in, and the music's swelling up. I'm like, oh my god, Finn's going to die. He's gonna make a sacrifice. That's an honorable end. Granted, I don't want Finn to die. John Boyega is awesome in these movies, and I love Finn. But the way he's willing to sacrifice his own life, he grew up in the First Order. He's looking back on his life now. He's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for a good, noble cause. And then his ass gets saved by Rose. I'm like, oh. Alright, thank God we get more Finn. And I love what Rose does here. A lot of people don't, but I do. When she's like, this is how we win, not by destroying those who we hate, but by saving those who we love. And she kisses him. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, this is a really bad romance. I really don't see it as a romance. I don't think this movie's saying, oh yeah, Finn and Rose totally love each other now. That was all Rose going for what she wanted. I think she's in love with Finn. I don't know if Finn's in love with Rose. In fact, I don't think he is. He might still be in love with Rey. This kiss was just Rose acting on an impulse. You could tell she was attracted to Finn from the very beginning, but Finn was not reciprocating those feelings, so she just decided to go for it. Is she dead? I don't know. But given the fan feedback of her character, I wouldn't be surprised if they just kill her off. That would suck. I really like Rose. I would like some resolution between her and Finn. But then some real badass shit goes down when Luke appears on Crate to confront Kylo Ren. I love it when Luke first appears down there, Kylo Ren is like, I want every gun we have to fire on him. Fire! So the First Order just fires everything they got. And Hux is like, do you really think you got him? That was funny. Hux is really funny in this movie. And Luke just emerges from the big blast. He's all like, that was one of the biggest laughs in the movie. But his hair is shorter, and he's got the blue lightsaber, and I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't that lightsaber split in half? Something's off here. Something's wrong. This is, like, weird. And he has some FaceTime with Kylo Ren, and they're just hashing it out. They're fighting. Kylo Ren's pissed. I love how Luke is like, strike me down in anger, and I will always be with you. I thought he was gonna straight up quote old Ben Kenobi and say, strike me down, and I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. But Kylo Ren goes for it. He's just charging at him, slices him in half. I was like, oh my god, Kylo Ren just killed Luke Skywalker. Nope. Luke turns around, and I was like, what the fuck? Turns out this is a force projection. You see Luke meditating on the island, and all the audience was like, oh! Back on Crate, he's like, see you around, kid, and then just disappears, which is a great slap in the face. But then Luke dies. Let that sink in. This is the death of Luke Skywalker. After really thinking about it, I'm okay with this. Here's why. Because this new trilogy is not about the older characters. It's not about Luke or Leia or Han. It's about the new characters, Rey, Finn, Poe, Kylo Ren. It's their story. The older characters are just support. Yes, Luke had a big part in this movie, that's for sure. But I'm fine with him dying and getting his piece at the end of this one. First of all, he's gonna come back in episode 9 as a Force Ghost. I know that for sure. If Yoda came back in this movie, then Luke's gonna be back in the next movie. And yeah, Luke died because of that Force projection. It just took all of his energy, and it took all of it out of him. When Rey and Kylo Ren were talking using the Force in the beginning of this movie, Kylo Ren was like, you're not doing this, the effort would kill you. To stretch your Jedi power all the way to another planet, I'm sure it takes a lot of Force energy. So Luke being able to hold a Force projection for that long, yeah, it would kill him. But he did it to get the point across that hope is not dead. He will not be the last Jedi. See you around, kid. Rest in peace, Luke Skywalker. He is now one with the Force. And the Resistance slash Rebellion slash whatever they're supposed to be now, they get away on the Millennium Falcon. They're reduced to like 50 people at most. And everyone's reunited. Finn's reunited with Rey. 3PO's reunited with R2-D2. Poe meets Rey for the first time. Like when they met, the way they were smiling, I was like, is there a spark there? Maybe. And Leia is there with all of them, so they're gonna have to write their way out of that one. Because sadly, Carrie Fisher has passed away. First celebrity death I've shed tears for. I'm sure they'll think of a good way to do it though. So alright, they get away on the Falcon. Hope's not lost. That's the end of the movie. There's a little epilogue where you see a kid on that casino planet that Finn and Rose were at earlier. This kid has the Force. You know, he grabs the broom and starts sweeping, and he looks up into the sky. And that's the end of the movie. And I was like, oh, kids in Star Wars do not have a good track record. But actually, I was just talking with my brother about this, and according to him, he says that this isn't necessarily saying that there are going to be kids in the next movie. It's basically just saying that there's still hope out there in the galaxy, and there's still good out there, and there's still the Force out there. The Force forever seeks to find balance. So alright, fair enough. But then what's gonna happen in episode 9? What hope is there? Like, we're gonna get new characters, new forces to fight against Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Where are all the relationships gonna go? Finn and Rose, Rey and Poe, Rey and Kylo Ren. Will Phasma come back again? So many questions, but all in all, I still really enjoy this movie. I don't know if it's gonna be one of my favorite movies of the year, but I'd definitely be down for watching it a third time in theaters, because it's a real real nail biter, it's visually beautiful, and I still love these characters. They're written very well. So, what are your theories for Star Wars Episode 9? Whatever they are, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.